So tell us a little bit about this place.
Okay, so this is Mexico Medical Mission's main hospital campus.
Okay.
Here in Samachique, 7,500 feet elevation. I don't know if those are relevant details or not, but it's been here since 2000, and we're on the half right now where all the long-term missionaries stay for the most part, all the medical staff.
Okay.
And that side over there is the hospital.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is just kind of gonna walk around the campus and take a look at everything. So we'll start with the boring stuff and then work for the exciting stuff.
Okay.
The boring stuff is the bodega, and where we keep everything stored. One of the nice things about being close to the United States is that we can have easy access to equipment. This is one of our 3 bodegas. We're in the process of moving to another warehouse where we'll show you. This is one of the 3 where we keep all our hospital supplies for everything.
Okay.
This here is our ethylene oxide sterilizer for sterilizing things that can be autoclaved.
Okay. Nice.
We'll head up here. We'll cruise around the outside first and then go inside.
And having the ethylene oxide sterilizer helps a lot because we reuse a lot of disposable items that are hard to get in the US. So we use ethylene oxide for that.
Yeah, that's that's definitely a common story.
Yeah.
Of reusing things that.
Oh yeah, I have nerve block needles that I've used my entire time here since 2011.
Oh man.
40, 50 times. Okay, so over there, that is the Shanks house. They are missionaries that do village work. They're not medical. They built that cabin out there, but they work out in villages. That concrete building over there is the single men's dorm for the single men.
Okay.
And then over here, we'll just cruise on over here. These are our 2 ambulances that we have right now. We have an off-road ambulance, which is the Toyota Tacoma, and then we have our kind of on-road ambulance that we use for like critical care transports and stuff like that. It's always unlocked.
So do you go down?
And it's pretty basic, but like it's got oxygen and stuff like that. And we use this to transport to the smaller government hospital that's about 45 minutes away, and then in the case of really bad traumas that we can't fly out for weather conditions or whatever, we'll take them out in this too. So
Okay.
Our ER, so people will pull up and they'll go into the ER through this way, and this is kind of our ER receiving bay. So that's the back door to the ER. So let's go around front actually, and we'll just kind of cruise around. Is it okay that we have a not so organized tour?
Absolutely.
As far as like this kind
Yeah, sorry, we were
wandering over. All right, this is our cafeteria here. We'll go in there in a bit. Where we feed people, patients' families, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the nice thing is like not only patients who are staying in the hospital, but patients, we have an area that we'll show later for you here in the cafeteria.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the front of the hospital. This is the outpatient. So on a weekday, and tomorrow you'll see that people will be hanging out, and we do all our like outpatient clinic stuff in there. We have some outpatient clinic stuff. That's where we fix all our vehicles. We have a vehicle lift and stuff like that. You come over here. This is one of our 2 well drilling rigs to drill wells. We're trying to do one up in town right now, but it keeps breaking down. But we also have a furnace for like biohazard disposal stuff and junk like that.
So what year did the hospital start?
I believe it was 2000.
Okay.
which was when it started. Yeah, don't quote me on that though.
Yeah, Mike will be the one to have all the figures.
Okay.
The date.
These are the caliques that he was just mentioning. Calique means house in Tarahumara, and that's where patient families. It's just little wooden structures there.
Okay.
We run off of electrical power from the state, but we have a generator here just in case, that'll power the entire compound actually. We're gonna sneak in. Hola. Vas a estar famosa en un video. Estamos haciendo. So we're cutting in. This is kind of the back alleyway to come in, obviously in the laundry area. But what we're gonna do is go back up front where I was talking about the front of the hospital and take a look
Okay.
there. So, start at the very front here. So starting off over here, this is where we keep our records for patients. And then over here is our pharmacy, where we pretty much keep everything except for like your vasoactives and your ICU type medications, all my anesthesia medications and stuff like that. We have actually a pretty decent supply of stuff here as far as medications go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're not hurting like some other places.
Yeah.
So, and then again, this is kind of the external console plate. We have a dentist here now, so this is I think probably locked. Unfortunately, we have a dentist. Oh, that's locked. So this is our dental suite. We have a full-time dentist right now here.
That is awesome.
Yeah, this is actually hugely important, I feel, for overall health for people, right?
Oh, yeah, for
Preventing
sure,
all
yes.
kinds of problems besides rotten teeth. And then over here is our external consult rooms, where, docs will see patients here. We'll see upwards of up to 40 patients a day out here, depending on flow. This is also where, when we have our eye outreaches to do eye surgeries, cataracts,
Okay.
this will be the handling area where they'll process sometimes hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And-
Literally, like, what was it, like 300 less?
It was a lot. And I suspect with Samaritan's Purse involvement, it's going to be even quicker.
Yeah.
We have tuberculosis is a massive issue here. I've heard quotes of 50% for the area for tuberculosis. And so we have a tuberculosis program. We just bought this $18,000 machine that's going to up our ability to detect tuberculosis. And because of that, I think our population of tuberculosis patients is just going to explode. So,
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, that should be starting up soon as well, and it's kind of exciting. All right, heading back. We have, this is our X-ray room. This just, last year, the hospital won some kind of prize for being the best charity in Mexico or something like that, and as a result, one of the things that we won was this new X-ray suite thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the other thing is, I think it's worth pulling out just to show you. Something we invested in this year. This was our X-ray developing room.
Okay.
We did them all by hand, but this year we purchased an electronic plate.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we get instant feedback, and this helps because we don't have a fluoroscopy table currently in the OR. So
Okay.
when we do cholangiograms and stuff, we do it the old school way, like they did back in the '60s, where you put an X-ray plate underneath, shoot some dye in, and take an X-ray real quick. So this makes the whole process a lot faster. But that's been a huge help. Okay, and then coming over here, get these lights off. Tell me if I'm going too fast or too slow, or if you need me to
Yeah.
do something in particular. This
I-
is our lab. We have a CBC with differential machine here. We just picked
Okay.
that up recently. It's really nice. We also just picked up a brand new machine to do kind of all kinds of serum studies, electrolytes, albumin, all that kind of stuff. We have-
Awesome.
the same guy, same Tarahumara guy has been here for 18 years. David, he lives here in town and he's indigenous, but I mean, he's a brilliant guy and he runs this entire program, this entire thing. Even though I think he might have a high school education, but he knows what he's doing with lab. Functionally, he's at a PhD level. And then up there's our microbiology lab, but
Okay.
it's locked up right now. So. Our kitchen, where we cook for patients. I say as if I do the cooking. I'm a terrible cook. But that's
nice.
All that's done.
And the cafeteria is on the
Right
other
over there.
side. Yeah.
Okay.
And then right now we have
Laundry room, I guess, to do all the stuff.
women's ward. This used to be the pediatric ward, but we shifted it to be closer to the nursing station.
Patients.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's right. And let's see here. Men's ward over here. Same idea. So I think you probably get a shot in there without exposing too much patient info.
Yeah.
And this is our ER. It's small, but as Willie can tell you, it's very functional. It's pretty functional, and we receive some pretty hardcore things in here sometimes. So, Willie can tell you some stories.
Yeah, it was about my
second, third day, I think.
second or third day that we had a vehicle that had a rollover. A gentleman that came with bilateral pneumothoraces, pneumomediastinum, and
12 broken ribs. He was drunk driving, trying to cross a river, and his truck got stuck in the river. And he, when he hopped out, he got sucked. And I saw how far he got sucked underwater and rolled like this about 150 to 200 yards downstream before.
Oh man.
So he came in rough shape, but he survived.
yeah, we actually we shipped him to
Chihuahua.
Yeah,
We flew him
to a
out.
bigger hospital.
This is our. We just bought this year. This is my favorite thing. Brand new M Turbo ultrasound. We have an old one. This one's been hanging tough. You can see it's just been through war.
Yeah.
Like it's got this thing on it. But we use these for everything here. I mean, this is our CT scanner. These things are fantastic. So I use them for nerve blocks and stuff like that. Autoclaves. We're always ready for kind of a trauma or critical transport and stuff like that. So our go bag and stuff. And then out here, as I showed you, this is kind of the exit out to the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where we just
Right out there. Yep, right out there.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. So something that Samaritan's Purse recommends we've started to incorporate is more security features. So putting bolts on everything and all that. So, all right, let's keep on cruising. We'll head over to the nurses' station now. By the way, Willie, I added a monitor here to the crash cart, just so we'd have one.
So we have it. That's good.
All right. So this is the nurses' station here. This is Kevin and Liz, two of our Mexican residents who are doing a year here.
Oh,
You guys
nice
are
to meet you all.
famous.
Yes, you are.
Here we have the radio base to call everything.
It's kind of like our pager system.
Yeah, pager system.
Everybody carries a radio.
Everybody has a radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's.
And here, we're just going to break some rules. We're going to just bust back into the OR. I don't care. I broke that rule all day today. All right, this is our pediatric ward. It's currently under construction.
Okay.
It was originally just this room, but we realized that we were mixing our digestive and our lung diseases together because we put them all together so that kids would just swap diseases. So, so these are almost done, which is pretty exciting.
Nice.
For my sister, Jessie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and along with this, and these are just details that probably bore most people, but we're getting a new oxygen system in here that is more your piss and disc connectors, rather than these really crummy things we have now. So, the other thing that, so this started happening in June, this construction, and this is the other thing here. This is what my wife works. My wife is in charge of the bodega, the warehouse, and we just built this new warehouse, and we're in the process of kind of updating and starting to keep really good track. For 18 years, people just brought stuff to the bodegas and just essentially dumped them off, and we had no real good idea of what was here. So we've started developing an app that'll keep track of the inventory, like real-time levels and stuff like that, to make us more efficient.
Awesome. Yeah.
Especially with our, if you don't do that stuff, you hemorrhage a ton of money. So, but as you can see, this is just a small fraction of what we have, and we're really well stocked. I think it's a blessing, again, of being so close to the United States. For example, one of the things of starting to keep track, for example, is we've discovered that we have 4 lifetime supplies of 3cc syringes. So That's all these boxes. I mean, so yeah. Anyway, so that's the bodega. It's another kind of thing, and a spare fluoroscopy, stuff like that.
So do you,
Let me see here. Actually, yeah, let's get through.
I didn't know you guys had a C-arm.
We have two of them.
we
You have two of them.
We have two of them. That's our backup.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of fracture work.
Yeah. All right, we are just gonna break rules here. So this is technically a recovery room, but it's not really. After a surgery, I'll recover patients in the OR until I feel they're good, and then I'll put them out front in front of the nurses' station. But this is also where Dr. Berkeley's orthopedic stuff is. A lot of it, well, some of it. He's got more everywhere. But when we have eye outreach surgery things for cataracts, this is where the patients will be pre-op and they'll get their eye blocks before they head back to get their cataract surgery. So now we're in the ORs. So men's changing room right here, refrigerator with a bunch of temperature controlled stuff. This is where we keep our insulins. This is where we keep oxytocin for births and stuff like that. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try minimally to keep some standards going here. Here, have an integral in it. So here, every time a patient comes in on a bed, they have to be, unlike the States where you just cruise from pre-op into the OR,
Sure.
You have to move from the clean bed, or the dirty bed, to the clean bed. There used to be a railing here, actually, and we kept having to rip it out for emergency C-sections and traumas and stuff, so we ended up replacing it with a line there. So this is OR2. This OR has been kind of under construction with lights and stuff like that, but this is where our fracture table is for hip fractures and stuff like that. So that's our secondary OR.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. This is our sterile supply room here where we keep pretty much everything we need for surgery. Also over here, you can come on in. Over here, we have two autoclaves. So steam autoclaves.
Nice.
Yep. And back here, since you're an ICU nurse, this is where we keep all our, medications that might kill someone, to be honest with you. So all our vasoactives and stuff like that here. So it's a bit of a mess right now. We'll make it
Shakes. The stabilizer shakes a little bit when it's.
Okay. This is where we package everything for sterilization. Gas and autoclave. This is where everything's clean. This is our primary OR, and it's a mess right now because we're going to do an EGD that we're going to do on Monday. Willie and I spent hours in here today.
Yeah,
You can come on in here.
Yeah, come on in. This is where we do a lot of work.
Yep. But yeah, this is our main thing. This is the main anesthesia machine. This is where most of our surgeries are done. And it's in total disarray right now. This is not promo video ready.
Yeah,
No.
So,
on Monday it'll be better, but
yeah.
This is remarkably clean in reality. It looks really good.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a mess. It was cleaner at 9 a.m. this morning. So, and then back here, last but not least, I'm trying to make it quick since we're running long batteries. Back here is our last super ugly supply area where we have specialty stuff like vascular surgery, urology, that kind of stuff. And then over here is an impressive amount of stuff for our eye outreach stuff. You can see all our implantable cataract lenses and stuff like that. That a couple ophthalmologists from El Paso have been hauling in over the last, 15, 18 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Nice.
yeah. So that's pretty much it as far as the hospital goes. I mean, there's a couple other areas and stuff like that, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
yeah, so this is where we keep our endoscopy stuff. We also have, as you can see, just a luxury in Mexico, and also as a missionary hospital is having all the laparoscopic equipment. You saw the laparoscopic tower already in there.
Yeah.
But this is all, donated laparoscopic equipment, ports of all sorts, staplers, and as Eric mentioned, different biliary and pneumonic things that we have here, with colonoscopes and things like that. So.
If you have the battery power for it, we have one more area, the ICU too.
Yeah.
We should probably show you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh good, our ICU is empty right now, so we can do it real. So come on in here. This used to be a solid wood door, but we replaced it so patients wouldn't feel so
Nice.
whatever. So this is our ICU. It's unimpressive right now. We're still in the process of getting it fixed. This is the ventilator. We just picked this up this year. This is a transport ventilator, but it handles everything from peds to adults. It has a 7-hour battery. It has its own compressor, so it doesn't need an oxygen source, although you can use an E-tank or something like that and just train a couple liters per minute. It's a really neat ventilator. It just doesn't. This is pretty bare bones, but you know, when we have a patient in here, we pull a lot of equipment in here. We use to do for example, arterial pressure monitoring and stuff like that. We pull in my anesthesia monitor from the OR in here and stuff like that. So we can actually, I think we handle some of the highest level care, I would say, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think so. I think
in the area.
Yeah, we do. We have invasive monitoring, as Eric mentioned. We have a lot of vasoactive medications, so we are able to keep people on a ventilator or on a leofed drip or things like that for out in extended periods of time. We have a limited, of course, quantity of the medications and things like that, and oxygen. But yeah, we've had people during the time I've been here, which has been about 2 months. We've had about 2 ICU patients, and on and off on ventilators and vasoactive medications. So it's been a blessing. It's a real blessing.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you, but we had a patient that coded, and we actually brought him back in here.
Yeah, there's a third one. Yeah.
On these older ones, absolutely. I always buy more than one when I'm buying some kind of thing. All right, so this is our. We just delivered a baby in here yesterday, actually. There's your ventilator. So this is our birthing room. We used to have 2 midwives here. It's something we're sorely short of here. Maternal mortality in the Sierra Madre approaches 50% here because what was the stat? Something like 1 in 10 women die. And it's because the Tarahumara are one of the only cultures in the world does not have some kind of natural midwife or experienced woman to guide younger women. The way that women do birth here is they'll head out into the woods by themselves and just deliver by themselves. And their thing is to hang from a tree when they're delivering, which is why over here we have our own version of that. They can hang from that if they want while they're laboring. While we had our midwives here, those 2 ladies single-handedly dropped maternal mortality significantly here. It was pretty incredible, and we also had a really large volume of pregnant ladies coming through here. But they left for various reasons. They're young ladies, wanted to move on. It's a high-stress job here, because by the time women come in here, a lot of times they've been laboring out in the villages for 24 hours, or there's some kind of a VBAC from that previously had a cesarean in, the main hospital, who was treated poorly, didn't want to come, and then they come here and with some kind of complications and stuff. So we rarely get normal births here. It's always some kind of complex thing, but something that we're in dire need of definitely is like some kind of midwife or OBGYN or something like that. So we have all the equipment. We just need someone that knows what they're doing. I'm a nurse anesthetist. I've delivered babies, and I have no business delivering babies. Yes. I have no idea what I'm doing. So so that's pretty much it. Again, we have things to measure contractions, all the stuff that you would expect, or most of the stuff you would expect in a pretty well stocked birthing suite we have here. And we do have the capabilities to do C-sections because we have a general surgeon here who can do C-sections, and we have anesthesia. So the 2 critical components to doing a C-section. We've handled babies here as low as 3 pounds that have delivered and successfully been able to get them out of here. And now that my sister's here too, that's another addition as far as handling these types of babies.
Yeah, I think the missing link is definitely either a midwife or an OBGYN.
We on that topic, that's been a topic. I've been looking for 3-4 years. It's just so hard to find one, but my goal is that I would prefer like a nurse midwife or something like that, I think, because they tend to have the clinical background that we need here with complex births. I'd say. Anyway, one more area. Well, we're going to cruise back outside.
And I think, like all the neonatal resuscitation we need is here. Plus we have a Billy Light.
When did we get that?
Yeah, which we discovered the other day.
Oh, no kidding.
And a small incubator.
We were looking for a Billy Light. That's just how it goes around here. That's why it's so important to do good inventory, so we know what's going on. Hey,
The Lord left one in the closet and you didn't even know.
Speaking of what I just discovered here, I've been hoarding one for the last 5 years. These are all inline suction kits for ICU patients that are intubated. I didn't know how to. For intubated patients. Yeah, I had no idea. I've just had one, and the surgeon runs this place because we have orthopedic supplies just absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, so we're head out here. I think there's just one more thing as far as the official tour that I think is pretty important, and that is how we get our oxygen up here.
Yeah.
When I first came here, I graduated from anesthesia school, passed boards, and I did my first anesthetics by myself down here. One of them was a horrific C-section, the first C-section ever here. And she stayed on our ventilator for 36 hours back in the OR before she ended up dying, a young 14-year-old girl.
Oh, gosh.
But the thing that, the problem was we ran out of oxygen. Oh, this is perfect timing. So this is our oxygen supply down here. This is also Jose, the maintenance guy, who does just about everything here.
And Pedro back there.
Hello.
Hi.
So we run everything off H tanks. The H tanks, when they're empty, go to Chihuahua, which is 4 hours away or so, and they get refilled and brought back here. But we have a system here to make sure that we always have oxygen running, But yeah, it is a limited supply. We have oxygen concentrators for people that just need a couple liters nasal cannula. But other things like the ICU ventilator and stuff can consume a large volume of oxygen.
Boy, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Any talk of putting a oxygen generating system in at some point?
We've talked about it for sure. It's just another cost, another effort, another endeavor. And, when you're on the mission field, a lot of people have ideas, but it's one of those things of who's going to actually do it. Everyone's just chock full here. Everyone's
and it's an expensive project. Yeah.
Very expensive. Yeah. So. Yeah, and there's always seems to be something more present. And it's honestly easy to get oxygen. It's more of just a hassle, and it's a time-consuming process. So, this is the general surgeon, Dr. Bruce's house, who's been here for the last 8 years. So if we can actually keep going. There's a few more things, I guess, right, as far as literacy goes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
This is where we have our Mexican nurses.
Oh yeah, the single ladies stay up there. That's where the single ladies stay. It's kind of a dorm room style thing. Yeah.
Cool.
To name one of the few projects that, like Eric was saying, a lot of people want to do or suggest doing things, but never happen. We were looking for bear huggers.
Oh yeah.
Because it's hard to get bear huggers disposable. So somebody came up with the idea of using parachute material to try to do a bear hugger.
I asked for that.
And that was 4 years ago, and nobody's ever done it yet.
I asked 3 different people to do it, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll get to you next month," and then they just kind of fall off into nothing, and I never hear from them.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, but so all right. Good. Well, you can stay this way.
I don't know much about it, to be honest.
All set? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the literacy center, it's called. This serves a whole bunch of purposes. Right now, this is a school for the missionary kids Monday through Friday. But we also hold, I say like I'm part of this. My parents, who are linguists, hold language classes here. There's also a couple, Andy and Luisa, Mexican couple here that used to be with New Tribes that also teach language classes. My parents have been working on developing a video series of the Tarahumara language for the last, 10, 15 years, something like that. And it's finally starting to see a bunch of fruition. I think before my mom was really one of the first people, Westerners, to really dissect and understand the language. And after my parents started this program, I think the Western non-native Tarahumara language speakers went from like 5 or 10 to over 100. So it's been a pretty significant thing as far as like getting missionaries fluent and out in the field with the language. But this is also where I think we can go. These might just look like offices, but we can. No, let's bust in there. I don't care. Yeah. Let's bust in there. Let's go in. We live upstairs. My wife and I, our family.
Okay.
This is my parents' apartment, but we're going to cut through it.
Okay. Maybe I'll.
This doesn't look like much, but a ton goes on here. This is a recording studio. My parents are recording a bunch of indigenous hymns and stuff like that, and the goal is to eventually they have this idea for this program where they'll set up Wi-Fi hotspots in different villages with like all these different audio media things that people can download on their phones, because even out in the boonies, you know, indigenous people have smartphones these days.
It's scary, isn't it?
They're preparing all the material for that now, and their idea is there's going to be one central person they'll set up in each village. They'll have like a solar panel, and they'll hook one house up to electricity, and the negotiation with that person is that person will then teach other people how to access the local Wi-Fi network to download the Bible stories, Bible songs. My parents have been recording hours and hours of Bible stories and stuff like that. And they also have a print shop here. That's because one of the other things they do is they've developed a literacy program for the Tarahumara people to teach them how to read their own language, and they do that with the Bible stories. My dad's created a thing of 72 books, I believe, right? Some in the 70s, all with illustrated in the Tarahumara context, you know, so it's not white people, it's Tarahumara people, but in the Bible stories. And that's how they learn how to read. And there's different levels, and my parents, and then they go through the levels. And that's something that people are just fanatical about out here, is learning how to read. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, this is, I mean, although it doesn't look like much, a lot goes on here.
Mapuhiti